Hi everyone, we are live. I'm Carly. This is Zoo to You Virtual Safari, and today is a very different day for our virtual safari. You can tell I'm on a construction site. I'm in my personal protective equipment because I am on the grounds of our Helen and Arthur E. Johnson Animal Hospital construction site. So instead of featuring an animal today, we're going to be talking to Dr. Scott Larsen, Vice President for Animal Health, our head veterinarian here at Denver Zoo. He has been a very important part of this animal hospital project, and he's going to be able to tell us what you're going to see when this hospital opens in the fall of 2020. Hello, Abby, and what you can expect and how this is going to change the game for animal care here at Denver Zoo. So we're really excited about this. This is a tour that no one has seen yet. This hospital has been under construction since February of 2019. When we broke ground. So a lot has changed. If you've driven by 23rd Street, driven by the zoo, you will see this has been going up so fast, and now we're actually gonna go inside. It's gonna look really unfinished, but we are really about 3/4 of the way there. Anyone who's familiar with a home construction project will see that all we have left to do is really some of that inside stuff, and we're excited to get started. So you'll have to use your imagination today to know what it's gonna look like when it's all done, but we hope this gives you a really good idea and how much your support has meant to us to be able to keep this project going. Hi Shannon, we can't wait for the Denver Zoo to open up either, and for you all to see the construction from the other side. So hello to everyone. So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna flip it around here and introduce Dr. Scott Larsen. Hello. He, like I said, he's our Vice President for Animal Health and head veterinarian. So describe kind of what we're looking at here.
Sure. So we're really excited to be able to share this with all of you today. As Carly said, this is a look that people haven't had, and even when we're open, you won't necessarily have. This is the courtyard for the inside, kind of the heart of the new animal hospital. One of the exciting things about it, we've paid really close attention to design and made most of the hospital so that our animals can be inside or outside during the time that they need to stay with us. So what you're seeing out here in the courtyard is all area of the hospital where it'll be quiet. Animals can come outside if they're convalescing from being sick or injured. If they're new to the zoo, they will be able to be out here. Very little traffic, not a lot of disturbance from 23rd Street. So this is also where we'll be bringing animals into the hospital, into our treatment rooms, our recovery rooms, surgery. This is where we start our journey in terms of working with an animal at the hospital.
All right, so what we're looking at right here, right behind Dr. Larsen, is the loading zone for those large animals, correct?
Yep, that is correct. This is looking into the garage, and as you look all the way through that garage, it goes into our large treatment room, and those big windows at the end, that is the viewing area where our guests will get to see how we work with our animals here, provide them exceptional medical care within the new hospital.
How big of an animal can we get through this kind of garage door?
So the biggest animal we are anticipating on bringing through the hospital, probably about 1,000 pounds. So big grizzly bear, really big antelope, we can bring through. Those are big doors to accommodate our van, which is what we use to transport the animals a lot. I'm gonna go stand there. You'll be able to see real quick just how big it is.
Let's get some perspective. So this animal hospital is gonna be 22,000 square feet just about, which is double the size. So there you have some perspective, some scope, how tall, how wide that door is. I'm actually gonna come over to Dr. Larsen. We're gonna kind of come in here and see, and we'll show you once we go through this garage, what it's gonna look like for our vets and our CVTs and what you're going to see as a guest, because what we're really excited about for this animal hospital is the ability to bring guests inside and allow them to see surgical procedures and treatments. So what room, so now we're in that loading zone. So what else is featured here?
Yep, we're in the garage. This will be temperature controlled. A safe place for us to get those animals out of the van, out of whatever we're going to be using to bring them to the hospital. I don't know if Carly can angle up to look at, there's a hoist, there's a rail up in the ceiling That'll have a hoist on it, an electric mechanical hoist that will be able to use to help support those animals when they weigh 300, 400, 600 pounds, to bring them out from that vehicle and take them from the garage into that treatment room. On our way into the treatment room, you'll see wood covering the floor. We're going to have a scale here, so we'll be able to weigh those animals. As long as we can lift them into the building, this scale is big enough that it will be able to weigh them. So regardless of if we've been able to have a weight on those animals in their home environment or not, we'll be able to get a weight once they come in, just like the first thing that happens when you go to the doctor's office. You get a weight, you take your pet to the veterinarian, they get a weight. We do the same thing as they come in here.
Absolutely. We're getting some questions. So no, we're not going to take care of elephants here. They have Toyota Elephant Passage, which is designed for them to have everything they need for their health care to do right there in the barns. And then no nursery either. Talk about
Correct.
that.
Yep, absolutely. So the nursery was an extremely popular part of the old hospital. But when that nursery was built, when it was heavily in use, we had a very different understanding and philosophy of how we need to raise our baby animals. And what we've learned over years is that animals of all types, primates, bears, cats, antelope, tend to do much better overall for their entire life if they're raised in family units, if they're raised around others of the same kind. Of course, if there's a serious medical issue, we'll bring animals up here, even babies, temporarily to treat them. But then we try to get them back with their family units. Just like, again, if you have a sick child or sick infant, you have them in the hospital for that critical time, but you don't raise them in the hospital. You raise them with their family, with others that are similar to them. And so many times we'll do that acute, really critical care on an infant here at the hospital, but then we'll work down in the areas with the keepers, with the animal's mother to assist raise the animal rather than separating them completely and then have issues with trying to get them reintegrated with a herd or a group or a family later in their life.
So we know you all love a nursery, but you will not find one here. But talk about the room we're in right now. And I'm focusing on those windows because that is where guests are going to be able to come and stand and watch you all at work.
Yep, absolutely. So this is our large treatment room. This is where we'll be able to bring in animals, excuse me, as large as a bear, as large as a big antelope or a zebra. Take x-rays on them, do ultrasound, do a lot of different diagnostic techniques and tools for evaluating those animals. Those viewing windows are raised up 4 feet from the floor. So guests will be able to be in front of those windows and not only see into the room, but they'll have a little bit of elevation. So they'll be able to get a perspective on the whole room. Not having equipment as much in the way, not having people in the way, really get a good sense of all of the things that are going on as we work with those animals. The other things that will be out there and in here are cameras in our lights. Our lights are not installed yet, but those lights will have cameras embedded in them. Those cameras will go out to video monitors out in the guest area so that you'll have a direct up-close view of what's going on. If we're looking at the teeth, if we're doing an ultrasound, you'll be able to see that. When we take x-rays, we'll be able to shift what's on those computer monitors, so you'll be able to see the x-ray as we're seeing the x-ray, to really get a sense of what goes on with these medical procedures as we take care of our animals. Melissa's
wondering, how will viewing work? Is it a walkthrough, extra fee, reservation? I'll explain if you kind of are discombobulated about where we are since we're actually inside the hospital. Where I'm looking at, the outside those windows would be central ranges, where Mojo or Cape Buffalo, that habitat, and then on the right would be Rudy the rhino. So it's on the other side of that. But how will it work for guests to come through and see?
So guests will be able to come in here. There's no plan for an additional charge to come in. with all of the changes with coronavirus and social distancing, and as our communities are getting ramped back up, as our public venues are looking at ways we're going to be able to start having people come back to us, and as we get excited for people coming back to the zoo, there's still some things we need to figure out in terms of, are we going to need to be able to be timed and such, but we are not planning, although sometimes it looks really finished, sometimes it doesn't. We don't think we're going to be ready to open to the public until the fall of this year. So hopefully we'll be in a very settled place at that point, and we'll just be able to allow people in. But if we are still doing some social distancing things, we may need to regulate how many people can come in at a time, just to keep with that social distancing. Yeah. That's the one change we'll have with the viewing experience, or might have, with all of the changes that we've had to deal with.
And we have some great questions coming in. Will this hospital be used exclusively for zoo animals, or will other wild animals, local pets, or other zoos animals be treated here?
So the hospital is designed for the animals under our care here at the zoo. Depending on the day and the year, we have somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 animals here. The vet team is a staff of 9, animal care staff of over 100. It is a full-time job providing the best possible medical care for those animals. So we don't have the capacity, nor is it designed as a wildlife rehabilitation facility or as something for domestic animals. It really is designed to make sure we're doing the best job possible with our animals here, and there's tons of exceptional practices that take care of dogs and cats and horses, and all the other domestic animals, as well as they do some good wildlife rehabilitation work. Those facilities will take care of those animals, and we will take care of the animals here at the zoo.
Christine said she was part of the Hazelden pre-construction team, so thank you for your work on this project, hey, Christine. We're so happy you're on the live today. So someone's asking if we know how big this treatment room is.
Really big.
Really much bigger than the old one.
It's just big enough. It is not really big, it's just big enough. We're going to look up and see if we can get the square footage of this room. In the old hospital, we had a single treatment room. Here we have 2, a slightly smaller room off to our right. This room itself is about twice the size of our old treatment room. And while it seems very spacious, when you get something like a tiger, a lion, a zebra in here and get all of the equipment that's necessary to take care of and figure out what is wrong with that animal, all of a sudden it is not a lot of space. So if we're working on a frog in this room, it will seem gigantic. But if we're working on one of those bigger animals, we've really designed this so we have the space to move around, really do a good job, be safe, and get a procedure done efficiently, because as many of you may know, most of the animals that come up here for treatment are anesthetized when they're coming up for treatment. That's the way that we can work with them safely, get all of the information that we need. And while we know a lot about anesthesia and have exceptional tools for doing a good and safe job with them, trying to get things done really efficiently so those animals aren't asleep any longer than they have to be is really important as well.
They recover in their habitats.
25 by 20.
So 25 feet by 20 feet.
Ooh, that's a big room.
500 square feet.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
If any of you kids want to do some math problems right now, figure out what 20 by 25, how many square feet that is. Let's kind of go into the next room, the surgery room. Rita, the hospital is slated to open the fall of 2020, and Lori's wondering how many animals can actually be in the animal hospital at once.
How many animals can be in here at once? It kind of depends on the animal, because we might have our large animal area and there's a bear over there, and even though we've got 4 stalls, that bear is probably going to go between all of them. However, if we have a group of frogs in our amphibian room, which is much smaller, that's probably, 100 square feet, we could have hundreds of frogs in that room. So we treat animals, I mean, we treat every animal in the zoo. Fish, frogs, elephants, flamingos, everything. That is a huge challenge with building a zoo hospital, is we're building it one size fits almost everybody. We can't bring in elephants, we can't bring in rhinos or giraffes. Just about everything else in the zoo we can bring in here and treat. But some of them take up more space than others. So that's, we could fit hundreds in here sometimes. Sometimes it's just a handful. It really depends on which animals we're treating or caring for here.
We've got some math whizzes. They say it's 500 square
500,
feet.
good.
Thank you, Jack, and
Good.
thank you,
Talking
Corey.
and doing math at the same time. Good job. Thank you.
So let's see. We have two good questions. I want to say happy birthday to Jordan. It is his birthday, and he misses
Happy
the
birthday.
zoo. So we miss you too. We're sorry it's not like an animal today, but this construction site is really cool to us too. So we're happy that we can celebrate your birthday in here. And then Lala is 9. She thinks she has a question just for you, Dr. Larsen.
Okay.
What animal do you think is the hardest to work on?
Oh my gosh, this is a really difficult question. The hardest to work on. There's so many challenges because of so many different species, and I'm gonna cheat and tell you two examples. Our really big animals are really tough. So like our hippo is really challenging because they can be dangerous. Working with them, and they have tiny ears and short legs, and it's really hard to get blood, and they've got really thick skin, so it's hard to get medication. It's hard to do a lot of things with them because they're so big and so tough. So hippos can be a really big challenge on the big side, but then we have some of our patients, like some of those small frogs I was talking about, they're this big. They may weigh less than an ounce. And so trying to do even a diagnostic procedure, take a radiograph of them, can be challenging. We've got some lizards that have needed surgery that weigh just a few ounces, so the whole animal's this big. You know, if we do that sort of surgery on, or if we do something on a person and they lose a drop of blood, no big deal. You lose a drop of blood on an animal this big, probably not going to make it. So we have challenges on both ends of the spectrum in terms of the really big animals can be difficult, and some of the really small animals can be difficult too.
Being a zoo veterinarian is probably a lot of work because you have to know a lot of different anatomies. Animals can't tell you what's wrong. They can't say, oh, it's my left leg. So it's a lot of figuring it out on your end. So talk about this room. This is not just a treatment room.
Yep,
This is...
So if we had an animal that we brought in, like an injured antelope, into the treatment room, took x-rays, figured out we've got a leg fracture that we need to fix, then we would come into sterile surgery. So sterile surgery also has the viewing windows, so our guests can come in and see the surgery. And we know that is not for everybody. We know that other people will stay there and watch the whole surgery with us, and both are perfectly fine. But this whole room is set up specifically for sterile surgery. It won't be used for anything else to keep it in the best condition possible for those surgical events. This area over here is where our doctors will prep for surgery, scrub in, do all of that. And then we've got an entire room with all of our surgical supplies that can be processed, cleaned, and then passed through that giant window over to the team that's performing surgery to make this really a true high quality, state-of-the-art, best practices surgery area for our animals.
Yeah, let's go see this really cool piece, or where a really cool piece of equipment is going to go. And I'll explain that if you're
Absolutely.
here at the hospital and you're watching something, you're not going to have to figure it out on your own what we're doing. We're going to have a great team of guest engagement interpreters to explain what you're watching and help you kind of understand and have some context. So this is another empty concrete room, but it's going to be home to something really special.
Absolutely. So we're really excited about this room. This is where our CT scanner or CAT scanner will go. We will be one of the few zoos in the country that will have a CT scanner on site. What CT scanners do is they create a three-dimensional x-ray essentially of the patient, and it really gives us a very different and often a much better view into exactly what's going on with the animal. Right now, if we need to do a CT scan, we need to partner with another practice, another institution, take our animals off site, or occasionally bring a mobile CT to us. But that's very difficult. We only do it on very special cases because logistically that's very hard to do. We'll have a CT scanner here, so any animal where we really feel that there will be a benefit from getting that three-dimensional radiograph, we'll be able to get it here. So the CT scanner should be installed before we open. We're extraordinarily excited about that. And this CT scanner is being supported through a donation from very generous donors. And you know, so many things with this entire project, so many things with the zoo, we just wouldn't be able to do without that donor support. So for us in the hospital, we're very thankful for all of our donors. This one in particular, extremely happy that we're going to be able to have that CT due to their support.
Yeah, your support can literally make a huge difference, as evidenced by the soon-to-be CT scan. Abby has a great joke. She says, if you put a lion in it, it will literally be a CAT scan.
Absolutely.
Do you like that? We're going to keep walking, and we have more questions just for Dr. Larsen. How do you become a zoo vet?
How do you become a zoo vet? So if you are in middle school or high school or even elementary school, really learning a lot about biology is important. Getting really solid with math, chemistry, those sorts of subjects, and then continuing that into college. And once you've got your requirements done through college, then you go to veterinary school. That is 4 years beyond college, just like medical doctors, just like human doctors. And then some people are lucky enough to get into being a zoo vet, going into practice, and then many of us then go through additional advanced training programs. So again, similar to human doctors, many of us go through internships and then residencies where we get trained specifically on zoo medicine, which is its own specialty because there's just so much you need to learn to be able to work with the huge diversity of species that we work with. And we do surgery, we do radiographs, we do ultrasound, internal medicine, preventive medicine. We do all of those things. Now, we can't be an expert in all of them, so we will call in experts. We work with ophthalmologists in town, surgeons in town and up at Colorado State, lots of other specialists to really help us do a better job. But we need to be able to do a little bit of everything with just about everything. So it does require a lot of dedication. If you don't like school, this is not the job for you, because for some of us, I spent more time in school after high school than before graduating in high school. So so it does require a lot of school in order to really get trained well. But it is awesome. It's a super exciting experience. It's the ability to make connections and make a difference for animals on an individual level, and then sometimes with our field conservation programs or assisted reproduction programs here, be able to make a difference with populations of these wild animals we care about as well. So it is a lot of work, but it's exceptionally rewarding.
Absolutely. So we're on the last stop of our tour. We did a little bit of a U from where we started in the courtyard. So what are these? What is this area?
What are these rooms?
Yes.
Yep, so this is one of our animal recovery areas, one of our areas where animals will be housed while they're hospitalized. This area was specifically designed for our hoofstock or our large birds like emus, ostriches, cassowaries, those types of animals, but mostly for zebras, antelope, any of those species. The room that we're standing in front of, particularly excited about, it has another one of those hoist rails that will help support getting an animal in and out. And if we have an animal that can't quite stand on its own, if it will tolerate the support, we'll be able to support it here as well. This will have a moving wall that we can get closer to or further away from the animal once that wall is installed. So we'll be able to work safely with some of these very large hooved animals and provide some really intensive medical care that we can't do that in most cases out in the zoo. We weren't able to do it in the old hospital, but we've designed this so, we've got an exceptional veterinary team and animal care team here at the zoo. We'll be able to actually use all of that knowledge and all of our experience to give that more intensive treatment to those animals that need it, because we'll have some rooms and spaces that we'll be able to do that in.
So I hope everyone has a really good imagination so you can just picture like a zebra or Ralph our emu in here. I mean, ideally, hopefully they don't have to come to the animal hospital, but if they do, they're going to be so well taken care of.
A little bit, maybe slightly less imagination, because we just got this installed in the last couple of days. What you're seeing out here is going out into the outdoor pen. So even if these hoofed animals do need to be hospitalized, as long as medically they can, they're okay to do it, they'll be able to go outside, get sunshine, get fresh air on an intermittent basis as well. So that's incredibly important for people, very important for our animals as well. So really happy with how this is designed, so we'll be able to have that flexibility depending on what our patients need.
Jessica's wondering how many vets we have at the zoo.
Sure. So we have 4 veterinarians, including myself.
4 veterinarians, and we also have certified veterinary technicians.
We have 5. Sorry, it changed recently. 5 certified veterinary technicians. So a total team of 9 in the veterinary department here. And like I said, that sometimes that seems big, and sometimes some people think that seems small, but we definitely keep busy trying to provide the best care for our animals.
Yeah. Nine people on our vet team, and somewhere between 3,000 and 3,500 animals at any given.
That, yes.
So it's kind of a full-time job just taking care of the animals we have here, which is why Denver Zoo's Helen and Arthur E. Johnson Animal Hospital will just be for our animals. Luke has the opposite question of the earlier one. What's the easiest animal to work on?
Oh my gosh. Well, see, that's a loaded question, because as soon as I say that, we'll get one of those animals in and something will be really hard with it. That's just the way things go. Probably the animals that are most similar to our domestic animals. So some of the animals that are more like dogs, we even do have a domestic dog here as part of our education programs. Sometimes Aspen is not that easy, but a lot of times Aspen is easy, at least in terms of us knowing how to treat and what to treat with, because for domestic dogs, there's hundreds of thousands of, if not millions, of dogs that have been treated over the years. And so lots of literature, lots of knowledge, versus we have some species, we have like our down in Primate Panorama. There's only 27 of those in the country. So, we reach out to colleagues, we read a lot, we do our best to get information on them, but it's a vast difference in knowledge base as far as knowing what's going on with an versus something that's more like a domestic animal.
All right, Christina, what you're looking at, this site is actually the site of the old animal hospital and our wildlife theater. So it's a much, much bigger footprint, but we actually had to demolish the old animal hospital to put up this new one. So there's no plans for that building because it is gone. The plans for that one are to build this one. So I think we're gonna wrap it up here. We are so grateful to everyone who tuned in and had great questions for Dr. Larsen. We appreciate it so much. Thank you to Hazelden for letting us come in here and take a tour of the site today and bring the animal hospital to you all today. We can tell you're all really excited, and so are we, to really improve and enhance the state-of-the-art animal care that our animals get here with this new Helen and Arthur E. Johnson Animal Hospital. Thank you to everyone who's been tuning in today. Thank you to Dr. Larsen for answering some really great questions about the construction of the hospital and what it's like to be a veterinarian. We appreciate your time. We'll post this whole replay up on our YouTube channel after we're done. So if you want to catch it later or from the beginning, you can just search Denver Zoo on YouTube, follow and subscribe. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. We hope